Hello everyone, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about something very important in our lives. What makes us truly happy and healthy as we grow older. Many people think success, money, or fame will bring happiness. But the real answer might surprise you. That's why I want to share with you an idea from a famous TED Talk called What Makes a Good Life? Lessons from the Longest Study on Happiness by Robert Waldinger. This video has been simplified for educational purposes. In this podcast, I'll take on the role of Robert Waldinger to talk with you, just like he did on the TED stage. Let's explore what really helps us live a good life. What keeps us healthy and happy as we go through life? If you wanted to put your time and energy into something now, to become your best self in the future, what would you choose to do? There was a study done not long ago with young people called millennials. They were asked about their most important goals in life. More than 80% of them said that their biggest life goal was to become rich. And about 50% of them also said they wanted to become famous. We are told all the time to work more, to try harder, to do better, and to reach big goals. We hear that these things, money, success, and fame, are the things we need to have a happy life. That's what we are taught to believe. But it is very hard to see a full picture of someone's life, to understand what choices they make and how those choices affect their life later. These full pictures are very rare and hard to find. Most of the time, when we want to know about people's lives, we ask them to tell us about their past. But as you know, remembering the past is not always easy or correct. Our memories can be wrong. We forget many things that happened to us in the past. And sometimes our memory changes things without us knowing. It makes new stories that are not completely true. So, if we want to understand what really makes people happy and healthy in life, we need better information than just memories. But what if we could watch full lives as they happen over time? What if we could study people from the time they were teenagers until they were old, to find out what really keeps people happy and healthy? Well, we did that. The Harvard study of adult development might be the longest study of adult life ever done. For 75 years, we have followed the lives of 724 men, year after year. We asked them many questions about their jobs, their family lives, their health, and many other things. We kept asking them these questions again and again, not knowing how their lives would turn out in the future. Studies like this are very, very rare. Almost all research like this stops after about 10 years. This usually happens because many people stop being part of the study, or the money for the study runs out, or the researchers lose focus, or they pass away, and then no one continues the work. But this study is different. Thanks to some good luck and the hard work of many groups of researchers over many years, this study is still going. It has stayed alive. Today, about 60 of the first 724 men in the study are still alive. They are still taking part in the study. Most of them are now in their 90s. And now we are starting to study their children. More than 2,000 of them. I am now the fourth person to lead this study. Since 1938, we have followed the lives of two groups of men. The first group joined the study when they were second-year students at Harvard University. All of them finished college during World War II. After that, most of them went to fight in the war. The second group we studied was made up of boys from the poorest neighborhoods in Boston. These boys were chosen on purpose because they came from some of the hardest and most difficult families in Boston during the 1930s. Most of these boys lived in small old buildings called tenements. Many of the homes did not even have hot and cold running water. When these teenagers joined the study, they were all interviewed. They also had medical checkups. We visited their homes and talked to their parents. Then, these teenagers grew up and became adults. They went into many different types of jobs. Some became factory workers. Some became lawyers. Some became bricklayers. And some became doctors. One of them even became the President of the United States. Some of them had problems with alcohol. A few developed a mental illness called schizophrenia. Some of them started life very poor, but became rich and successful. Others started in a good place, but ended up with a much harder life. The people who started this study never imagined, not even in their wildest dreams, that I would be standing here today, 75 years later, telling you that the study is still going. Every 2 years, our patient and hard-working research team calls the men in the study. We ask them if we can send them one more group of questions about their lives. Many of the men from the poor neighborhoods in Boston ask us, "Why do you still want to study me? My life is not interesting." But the Harvard men never ask that question. To understand these lives clearly, we don't just send them written questions. We go to their homes and talk with them in their living rooms. We get their medical records from their doctors. We take their blood, we scan their brains, and we talk to their children. We also record videos of them talking with their wives about their biggest worries. About 10 years ago, we finally asked their wives if they wanted to be part of the study too. Many of the women said yes. So what have we learned? What lessons can we get from the many thousands of pages of information we have collected? Well, the lessons are not about money, being famous, or working more and more. The clearest lesson from this 75-year study is this: good relationships help us stay happier and healthier. That's it. We have learned 3 big lessons about relationships. The first lesson is that being close to other people is really good for us, and being lonely is very bad. People who have strong connections with family, friends, and their communities are happier, healthier, and live longer than people who don't have many connections. Feeling lonely is actually dangerous. People who are more alone than they want to be are usually less happy. Their health starts to get worse earlier in middle age. Their brain also stops working well sooner, and they don't live as long as people who are not lonely. The sad truth is that, at any time, more than 1 in 5 Americans say that they feel lonely. We also know that you can feel lonely even when you are around many people. You can even feel lonely in a marriage. So the second big lesson we learned is this: it's not about how many friends you have, and it's not about just being in a serious relationship. What really matters is how good your close relationships are. We found that living with a lot of fighting and stress is very bad for your health. For example, marriages with a lot of arguments and not much love can hurt your health, maybe even more than getting a divorce. But living with kind and loving people helps protect your health. After we followed the men into their 80s, we wanted to look back at their lives when they were about 50 years old. We asked, could we guess who would be happy and healthy in old age, and who would not? When we looked at all the information we had about them at age 50, we saw something interesting. It wasn't their cholesterol levels in middle age that showed how well they would grow old. It was how happy they were in their relationships. The people who were the most happy in their relationships at age 50 were the healthiest at age 80. Also, good and close relationships helped protect people from some of the hard things about getting old. The men and women who were happiest with their partners said that even when they had more body pain in their 80s, they still felt happy. But the people who were in unhappy relationships felt worse. When they had body pain, they also had more emotional pain, which made everything feel worse. And the third big lesson that we learned about relationships and our health is that good relationships don't just protect our bodies. They protect our brains too. We found that when people are in a close and safe relationship in their 80s, it helps their memory stay strong. If people feel they can really trust their partner when life is hard, they remember things better for a longer time. But if people are in a relationship where they feel they cannot count on the other person, they start to forget things earlier. These people lose their memory faster. And the good news is that these relationships don't need to be perfect. Some of our older couples argued almost every day. They would fight or disagree often. But that didn't hurt their brains. As long as they believed their partner would be there for them when something bad happened. So, having someone you can trust and depend on, even if you don't always agree, helps you stay mentally healthy. This kind of strong relationship helps your memory and protects your brain as you get older. So this message, that good and close relationships are good for our health and happiness, is not new. People have known this for a very long time. But why is it still hard to understand and easy to forget? Well, we are human. We usually want a quick answer, something fast that can make our life better and keep it that way. But relationships are not simple. They can be messy and hard. And taking care of family and friends takes time and effort. It is not exciting or fun like we see in movies. And the work of keeping relationships strong never stops. It lasts our whole life. In our 75-year study, the people who were the happiest after they retired were the ones who made a real effort to find new friends after they left their jobs. They didn't just sit alone. They found new people to spend time with. Just like the young people in that recent survey, many of the men in our study thought that fame, money, and big success would bring happiness. But over and over, our study showed something different. The people who did the best were the ones who focused on strong relationships with family, friends, and their community. So what about you? Imagine you are 25 years old, or 40, or even 60. What does it mean to lean into relationships? What could it look like? Well, there are many ways. It can be as simple as spending less time looking at screens and more time with people. Or it could be making a boring relationship more fun by doing new things together, like long walks or going out on dates. You could also contact a family member you have not spoken to for a long time. This is important because family fights can hurt people who keep the anger for a long time. I want to end with a quote from Mark Twain. More than 100 years ago, he thought about his life and wrote, "There isn't time. Life is very short for fights, sorry words, and arguments. There is only time for love, and just a little moment for that." A good life is made from good relationships. Thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.